Well, first of all, we'd like to thank the Capital One Bowl for inviting us. It's always a pleasure. We were here two years ago. Our young men had a great time, and we actually had a great ball game against Nebraska, and hopefully we feel that we'll have a good ball game against Wisconsin.
Excited to be here. Orlando's a great place. The weather's been great. Today was a little chilly, but a wonderful place to be. All of us that have families here, to be in Orlando is great. I've had a good week of practice and excited to play this game.
All right, again, we'll open it up to Q&A for all our participants. Please find the microphone.
Whammy and Steve, you guys have a small group of seniors, relatively speaking, but, you know, what a special group. Besides just the numbers of what things they've accomplished, can you kind of talk about, you know, the intangibles and personalities that your current group of seniors, Steve and Whammy, have brought to the program?
Well, you know, first of all, on defense, you know, Chaz and Jimmy, two of the main seniors that we have, and been good leaders for us the entire season. You know, Chaz is not a voiceless leader. Jimmy is not a voiceless leader. But they've been two guys that have been playing really consistent for us, so they've been doing it in their play. And you know, we really appreciate what they've done in their time here at South Carolina. These two young men have won a lot of football games.
Yes, small group of seniors, but what an impact they've had. And historically, to go back and say they're the winningest group, really by far, for 4 or 5 years they've been here. Ronald and Connor both. Ronald would probably like to have another year back. Would you play 4 plays that game? 4 or 5? Didn't play much at all to lose that first year. So like to have him back, but he's been involved in some great football. What Connor's done, how he's done it, the leader he's been, the games he's won, the win streak at home. We will miss him. We really will. It's amazing what he has done here, and just his personality and what he's meant to this team will be hard to replace. But he's a great player, and we'll watch him continue to play. But yeah, what a special group of small group that is, but special group, what they've done here.
Coach Ward, can you talk just a little bit about what it's going to take to stop Wisconsin's rushing attack?
Well, again, it takes 11 guys to me on defense, you know, taking care of their assignment. You know, Wisconsin has 2 guys that have rushed over 1,000 yards, so we understand that they run the football. But I think that's kind of misleading, too, because people don't think that they throw the football, and they do. And so I'm sure they're going to try to establish a run and then hit us with the play action pass. But yeah, if we got 11 guys taking care of assignment, you know, I feel that we match up well. I know everybody will worry about the size, but you know, I think we'll play hopefully to our advantage with the speed and quickness.
Both Ronald and Chaz, it seems like a lot of these bowl games are won by the team that's maybe more motivated. What's the motivation for South Carolina in this game?
I would just say just bragging rights. You know, it's a great feeling when you can just go back to your community and just have that weight lifted off your shoulders, and for the next 8 months you can train and get ready for the next season and prepare, and just not have that heavy weight on your shoulder that, man, we let our fans and community down, and we let each other down by not winning this game. So, you know, just to go in and dominate and have a great game, that's our goal, and that's what we came here for.
Yeah, pretty much what Chaz said. I mean, Coach Stretch, since we've been here, you're only good as your last game, and this is the last one. You don't want to have a nasty taste in your mouth. So, bragging rights.
Yeah, Lorenzo over on your right. I'm just curious if you guys have enough time since the departure of Christian to address the lack of depth in the secondary. How's that settled in right now?
Yeah, you know, again, we have a lot of good young men on this football team. You know, Ahmad leaving is between him and his family. We wish Ahmad the best. But you know, again, we got young men here that I feel like can come in and step up and play. You know, of course, Jimmy and Vic Hampton are the 2 starters, and Rico McWilliams. And then if we have to go to a 4th corner, we'll put Bryson Williams at corner.
Lorenzo, when the defense got off to kind of a rocky start earlier in the year, just how frustrating was that for you, and just how did you stay the course and keep these guys on the path that you wanted them to be on?
Well, it was more than just frustration. Again, I think when you had an experienced defensive front coming back, and you had a totally inexperienced second level being linebacker group, and then you had a mixture in the secondary. Then we got to where early in the season I felt like we tried to do too much by each position. You know, I felt like the D-line didn't trust that the linebackers would be where they needed to be. The secondary was trying to compensate, and so when we sat down and we started looking at the video, I told them each week I have a team meeting on Monday, and I would tell them, you know, I think we're getting closer. We're getting there. We just got to stay together. We just got to get all 11 to take care of their assignment, and we'll become a decent defense. And so we started to focus on doing that. We started. I remember back early after the Georgia game, I watched us in practice, especially in our Miller drill where we go 7-on-7 with the offensive line and the running backs and tight ends, and our gap accountability got better. And the linebacker saw that the D-line was holding that gap. D-line saw that the linebacker was holding that gap. And we just developed the competence. And hopefully we're still growing, and we still got a ways to go, and hopefully we'll improve this ballgame.
Lorenzo, you're obviously coming up on kind of your 2-year anniversary of being defensive coordinator here. As you look back at the 2012 Capital One Bowl and obviously preparing for that in your first game as defensive coordinator compared to now, what's been the biggest difference for you, and how far have you come since in those 2 years?
Well, anytime I think you take on a new challenge in life, and becoming Coach Spurrier have enough confidence to name me 2 years ago. Matter of fact, my first press conference was 2 years ago today to this at this same table. So he had enough confidence and believed that, you know, I knew the system that he wanted to run, and that we had similar thoughts. And so he took the opportunity to let me become the coordinator. And, you know, of course, if you don't grow, then I think that you're stagnant. And you don't ever want to be stagnant in this profession. So hopefully I learned some things that I won't do that I did 2 years ago down here. You know, we got down 13-0. And so hopefully we don't get in that situation.
This is for the players. What's your guys' reaction to being the much higher-ranked team but being the underdog? Is there any way to explain that?
Me personally, I just take it as I don't want to sound like a cocky type of guy, but I just kind of take it as a slap in the face. You know, we, as a team collectively, we work hard, and we bust our butts at practice every day and listen to what the coaches tell us to do. And for us to be the highly ranked team coming into this game and be labeled as the underdog, we kind of take it as a slap in the face as a team collectively, because we know what type of guys we got coming to this ballpark on Wednesday to play in this game, and we just feel like, you know, we deserve way much more respect than what we're getting right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers, it would be a slap in the face, but it can also mean, you know, we have a chance to prove a lot of people wrong. Being an underdog is coming out fighting, and the game will tell itself at the end when the clock says 0-0. So,
Chaz, in the back, studying Wisconsin's quarterback, what have you noticed about him, watching him on film, and how important is it for you guys as a defensive line to put a lot of pressure on him?
It's very important. If we can put a lot of pressure on, we can take away a lot of things early in the game. And what we notice a lot is he like to hold the ball. He's not a guy that's going catch the ball and get it out very, very quick like some teams we played in the past. He's a guy that like to just, you know, like to roll out to basically one side or whatever. So we got to get him pulled up and keep him in the pocket and keep him contained. And we just gotta rattle him early.
Steve and Ronald, when you first look at Wisconsin's defense, what jumps off the page at you? What's the first thing that you see?
Statistically, I mean, they've been really good this year. They're big, strong, physical, play tough, play downhill. Obviously, our linebacker, Chris Borland, player of the year up there, is everywhere, makes tackles, hits people, very active. They're a tough team. They've played a lot of good teams this year, and they've held them down. You don't see a lot of teams score a lot of points on them. So they're a tough, physical team that plays good defense, and statistically, they've proved it this year. Be a good challenge for us.
Yeah, touch on that. I mean, they're big. They're stout up front. Active linebackers, you rarely catch them out of position. They're very good assignment-wise, so it's going to be a nice challenge.
Chaz, kind of the same thing that I asked Lorenzo. Obviously, you've seen him take over as defensive coordinator, his growth in the role. In your eyes, what have you seen with his development, becoming a first here defense coordinator, and then in the past 2 years?
this is all about growth. Coach came in first game. You know, he was like you said, he was. You can't be stagnant or whatever. But you know, just the past 2 years, you know, it's been all about growth. You know, he came in with a plan and he gave it to us, and as a group, and we executed it, and it works for us the past couple of years. You know, we one of the top defenses in our conference, and you know, he's doing a great job collectively.
Coach Ward, this could be obviously Jadavion's last game. Can you talk about him as a player and what you've, you know, obviously had the pleasure of coaching him the last couple of years and kind of coaching a player with that kind of talent and speed, no pun intended. But talk about coaching him the last couple of years, what he's meant to you and then to this program.
Well, I think he's one of the young men like the rest of the guys we have that come into a program. He came in very highly rated. He's probably as good as advertised. You don't see too many 6'5", 6'6" guys, 265 pounds, that can run the way he does. He's got cat quick speed. You know, he's a playmaker. That's one thing I can say about JD. He's a playmaker. He don't always do it right, or the way that we coach it, but he ended up making a play. So it's one of those deals where you say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, great job." So we understand that. The entire defense understand that. You know, JD is the only guy I know can jump in a gap and out of a gap and still make a play. And you know, we want him to be more disciplined and do it. But you know, he meant a lot to this program, and you know, for him to stay in the state and to come to the University of South Carolina just helped the trend that we had started of signing the top players in our state. And so you know, we're very, very excited for JD and his future. I'm sure this is his last college football game, and we wish him well.
Steve, if with the loss of Demir, just what's the plan, and how is that going to affect the play calling?
Demir's out. He'd be off for 5-6 weeks for that knee surgery. Nick Jones will probably play the whole game there, and you know, there'll probably be a couple less deep balls that we may have thrown to him that we'll throw to somebody else. But other than that, how we've put our plan together has not changed with the loss of Demir. Where we'll miss him is on special teams. He does an excellent job on 2 or 3 cover teams that he'll be hard to replace. But offensively, we'll do our best. And Nick's ready to play, and he's a good, solid player. So we'll be fine there.
All right, any other questions at this time?
Whammy, real quick about JD. Talk about your relationship. You have a good conversation. We always see video of you talking to him, chit chatting, kind of buddy. Talk about the personal relationship you have developed with him and what it means to you in going forward with his career.
Well, I think JD is a young man that, you know, I remember when we first started to recruit him, and you know, he's been told how great he is all his life, and he knows that. And but you know, that's not the way he and I develop a relationship, because I told him the very first time I met him that I wasn't going to tell him how great he was, and we was going to do things a little different. And so I think we got kind of a little special bond. And so when things are not going the way that we think they should go, I try to talk to him a lot and about just life in general. And so our relationship is way more than just football.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
All righty.